And now, from the Studio of Harmony in quaint Keller, Texas, here is Dr. Kweethai.
Well, we are very privileged to have such a peaceful surrounding to live in, and it helps us stay grounded and focused. And some people out there may not have such space. You may have smaller space, and it doesn't matter. We don't have to have a big yard to have peaceful surroundings. As you see, I can see Karen has a little garden in her high-rise apartment in Hong Kong. As you know, Hong Kong has such a small space and a lot of people. So when I visited Hong Kong, it was like looking at toothpicks sticking out all the time because everywhere you go are tall buildings. So it doesn't matter whether you are in a little house on 100 acres, because in Texas we have lots of land and many people have huge ranches with hundreds and hundreds of acres of land, or you could be in a small apartment in a high rise in a little island of Hong Kong. So it doesn't matter. Home is where the heart is. So today I want to talk about a very small change. We talk about change and how we are so scared of change. So this morning, I looked at YouTube and I stumbled upon an interview with the Dalai Lama. The question posed to His Holiness was, with all this big chaos all over the world, how has it affected your life? And his response was, it hasn't. He carries on his day-to-day activities pretty much the same. And so I want to talk about how we can create a peaceful space within us, no matter how big or small. A lot of times we hope to do something huge. And I use the word hope because today I want to abandon hope. So many times we want to do something so big, so perfectly. And then when we consider it, it becomes so big and so overwhelming. And since we can't do it perfectly, we don't want to risk failure. And therefore, we don't do it at all. And then we put it in a little pile. How many of you have what I call a magic drawer in your house somewhere, where stuff you don't know what to do with, you just throw in the drawer? Well, I can see a few smiles across the screen, right? And if you have one of those drawers, it would be one of those things where you say, well, one day I'm going to clean out that drawer. And that day never comes. I am just as guilty. Way back when, I collected this laundry basket full of photographs, pictures I've taken over the years, and finally I put it all in one laundry basket. And I put it in my closet. And I keep looking at it every day. I take stuff out of my closet and I said, one day, when I finish my master's thesis, right now I'm writing my master's thesis. When I finish that, I'm going to organize this basket of photographs. Well, I got my master's degree, and that day never came for me to attack the task in the laundry basket. Went on to do my doctorate. Well, there's a lot of work to do a PhD, right? And I will keep looking at that laundry basket full of photographs. And I said, one day, when I finish my doctoral dissertation, I'm going to organize these photographs. Well, that day came and passed, and that was more than 20 years ago. And today, I don't even know where that laundry basket has gone. So I don't have to look at it and say, one day I'm going to take care of you because it's gone. I don't even remember. And if I don't remember where that laundry basket has gone, because we've moved house so many times, and I certainly don't remember what was in that laundry basket. right? I honestly don't remember what photographs were in there. It doesn't matter because I realized that you will attend to something if it matters to you. You will attend to it if it matters to you. If you keep procrastinating, procrastination is a delayed decision. Procrastination is a delayed decision. I can't deal with it right now, therefore I'll deal with it tomorrow. And this is what I mean by hope, right? Hope is always about the future. Hope is always about some knight in a shiny armor on a white horse is going to keep riding in and rescue you from all the things you don't want to do. You never get it done. So today I want to tell you the story about how I flunked Brownie school. I had been a very good student for a long time, but this is my biggest failure. So I was about 10 years old. I wanted to be a brownie. So we have to attend meetings, and my family didn't have a lot of money to spare. So I have to do chores for my mom to earn money to save up to buy that beautiful brownie uniform someday that I would want to wear. So I saved a lot of money, and finally the day came for brownie enrollment. So the story of the brownie is about this little girl and the wise brown owl. So in our ceremonial ritual for graduation, it was my turn, so I stepped up, and there was this basin of water. And the teacher, who was the faculty advisor for the brownies, would ask this question, and it's very solemn, and it's very serious. So I was this little, she was this tall. I remember she was a beautiful, tall Indian lady in this beautiful silk sari, and she looked at me and she says, "Kweethai, what do you see in the basin?" And I looked at the basin, and I was very confident, and I looked up at her and I said, "I see water in the basin." And that was not the right answer. You see, the story is about this little girl who didn't want to do her chores. So she went into the woods to talk to the wise brown owl and hope that somebody else would do all her work. And the wise brown owl said, "Yes, I have a solution for you. If you come tomorrow night when it's full moon, you come to the middle of the woods, to the lake, and you look in the water, and there will be someone you see whom you can take home, who will take care of all the things you don't want to do." Teacher asked me the second time, "Kweethai, what do you see in the basin?" I looked again, and very confidently I looked up at the teacher. "I see water in the basin." Now my friends are doing that. You see, that's the wrong answer. And we get 3 tries, right? So finally the teacher looked at me, and this time I think she was praying for me. "Kweethai, what do you see in the basin?" "I see water in the basin." Fail. Who gets to flunk out of brownie school? I did. I'm probably the only girl in the whole wide school that flunked out of brownie enrollment. So I didn't get my uniform. I didn't get to buy my uniform because I didn't get to qualify to wear the brownie uniform. And so I went home and I was devastated. And so I thought through it, and I was very angry. All I saw in the basin was water. That was the wrong question. Not that I gave the wrong answer. You see, the question would have been, "What do you see in the water?" I'm supposed to see, I see me in the water. But it was a very old enamel basin. Even if I did look hard in the water, there was no reflection. And all the time I thought, I'm a brownie. I cannot tell a lie. If I said I saw myself in the basin, that would be a lie. So because I was honest, I flunked. Now, what do you make of that? Then I realized that Life was not as simple as it turns out to be. There are many aspects of the truth. And I have to learn that life is what happens when you have other plans. So if I flunked out of Brownie School, does that mean I'm going to be a failure for the rest of my life? I turned around and joined the St. John's Ambulance Brigade. It's another after school activity, and they also have a beautiful uniform. I don't know what this fascination about uniforms. It has a beautiful white uniform. We dress like nurses, and all I had to do was to learn how to do first aid. And I rose up to the ranks and became a sergeant. So I also learned from that little small shift that just because somebody does not understand me, or actually for them, they didn't ask the right question, and because they fired me because I'm honest, doesn't mean my whole world has to come tumbling down. So when one door closes, many windows will open. So I went on to join the St. John's Ambulance Brigade. I did not flunk out of school. I did not flunk out of life. In fact, it was through that little step that moved me to be interested in truly helping people and to understand that just because some people don't like me or think I'm stupid or judge me harshly does not mean that I have to succumb to that. I think the small idea there is when somebody slams the door in your face, it's okay. You don't have to have the whole world love you. The only requirement is that you love you and not to be so attached to other people's judgments. This non-attachment idea is not mine. It's more than 2,500 years old. It was one of the teachings of the Buddha, is that when we are not attached to things, you see, all life is impermanent, right? If you don't like me this moment, that's okay. I'm not going to be devastated because I take a deep breath. Someone else will come along who would absolutely adore me. And then don't get too attached to that, because you can take a deep breath and that too shall pass. And then somebody will think that you suck at what you do. There is no way to control that unless you were dead. And since we're not dead yet, and we have to navigate this world, it becomes a lot easier not to put too much value in what other people say of you. It is a good idea not to be so attached to external things. Today, the one small idea is how flipping one letter in one word in our lives can change the world. You ready for this? I want you to write, if you have things in front of you. If not, just imagine. Write the word me. M-E. 2 letters. And I'm only going to change one of the 2 letters. Take the word M and flip it. How can we make the me into the we? I'll say again, very small thing. Take the letter M and flip it. So the me becomes the we. I see right now with this whole big deal of unrest, something happens to one person and other people are responding to it. Unfortunately, the response is based in fear, because fear begets violence. There is no justification for violence. I believe that there is no justification for violence. Violence is when an individual gets so scared that you want to multiply the fear, and violence is infectious and it begets violence. More and more people get together to promote more and more fear. Fear does not change the world in a positive way. Only love does. So it's the same energy. If we can flip fear into love. So it's very interesting. This weekend, I met someone who said something about being so upset about the protests that he drove through the protests in anger. It didn't make him feel better. Point is, it didn't make anybody feel any better. Point is, it might have endangered his life, and it might have endangered the life of people who might respond to such action. Now, I'm not saying that we are all unfeeling and we shouldn't respond. And I think every one of us who view such unrest and violence can do one thing. We can all participate in the pandemic of positive love. That we can all, within the me, generate a vibration of positive regard and send it out to the world. And slowly, that would create a critical mass of positive feelings from one to another. Like the coronavirus, love does not distinguish between race, color, creed, religion, or SES. Love is love. By any other means is still love. Just as fear is fear, by any other name is fear. It's the same energy with different polarity. So how do we change the me into the we so that we can all vibrate together in a positive way? It's interesting, as I was considering this me to we idea, I want to bring it home to a smaller scale, as I often work with people who are in a situation of breaking up with loved ones or marriages or families or work relationships. In arguments and disagreements and conflict, all conflict happens is because there are at least two me's. Me, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong. If you don't see it my way, you are wrong, you're bad, wrong is bad. And so when a person stands up to argue, it is a huge ego trip, right? I'm better than you. I'm more right than you. I'm smarter than you. I'm bigger and better than you. To me, conflict is nothing more than a pissing contest. See who can pee the furthest. You see little boys playing outside in the field and they send this stream of pee to see who can pee the furthest. Right? Or who can throw the furthest, who can jump the highest, who can make the most money, who can have the more wives or the more lovers. Everything is a contest because of this big M. Me. Me important, you not important. And so suddenly in this midst of a universe, you want to be the only one standing. I used to tell people who fight, if you have to be right no matter what, you'll be the only one standing and everybody else will be dead and you wouldn't have an audience to applaud you. It would be a useless victory. In a husband-wife situation, often I would hear the conflict, well,
his fault. This is all his fault. This is all her fault. If only she would do A, B, and C, this would be a wonderful marriage. If only he would do A, B, and C, this would be a perfect marriage. Blah, 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 blah. You hear that going on all the time. And so you have two people barking at each other, neither one taking a moment to step out of the me box to consider that perhaps there's a we here somewhere. Perhaps there is somebody else to be considered in the equation besides just me, 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 me. Some time ago, I had the privilege to address a group of people who do a lot of work for marriage enrichment. And the couple who invited us to attend, they've been married to each other for 63 years. And still liking each other. And they're both marriage counselors. So if you ever need to go to a marriage counselor, this will be the pair to go to, because not only are they still happily married to each other, they love each other, and they have been working on helping couples enrich their marriage, their entire professional lives. And I found that it is very enlightening to meet couples who've been married a very long time, who has maintained a similar respect for each other. And I had the privilege to ask them, what's your secret? As I look at my marriage with Steve for 20 happy years, what's our secret? And I would ask Diane and John, they've been happily married for what, 40 some years, right? You can unmute yourself, Diane. Tell us how many years?
50.
50 years. Yes, I am 50 years, right? And if you meet John, one of these days you should drag John into the room. You will know that they are just a pair made in heaven on earth, because they are fun couple. You see that they have this amazing positive regard for each other. And if you ask John, he would tell you, I fell in love with Diane when I was 4 years old in kindergarten. It's very cute. How does that happen in a relationship? If you look at the couple individually, they're very different people. In many ways, with very different interests. So they didn't just morph into one glob where they lose themselves. They are like a wok of stir fry, not a pot of soup, right? Because they each retain their individual integrity. In stir fry, you can still identify all the vegetables in the wok, right? In a stew, they all fall apart and merge together and blend into something totally different. But yet, when they're in the wok and they are put together, you can see individual pieces, and yet together they create something that neither each one of them alone can achieve. So I said, life should be a wok of stir fry and not be a melting pot. Because if we melt into something, we will lose ourselves completely. But the miracle of changing a me to a we, as I understand it, means that we don't have to lose ourselves to be part of a greater whole. In fact, it's richer if we bring our individual selves into the center and make a synergistic contribution and yet retain our integrity. I've had the privilege of finally engaging in a very good marriage. I think 20 years of happy life together could qualify as that. And I see that for every day that I live with Steve is a privilege, and he's a gift to me. Never mind he's actually listening to what I say, but he's heard this many times before. I say it to his face, I say it behind his back. What do we have to do to flip the M into the W? I realized that marriage is not a contract. If we regard marriage as a contract, we are doomed to fail. Because in a contract, you have two parties. each party said, I'm going to do ABC, and you're going to do XYZ, and you're going to do what you say you're going to do, and I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, and everything is a balance sheet. It may work in a business contract, but marriage is not a business. Marriage is a choice of your lifestyle. In marriage, we have to make a commitment to transform. A good marriage transforms the two parties. I know that I'm a much better person today because I'm married to Steve. That I may have achieved all my career things alone. Actually, I don't think I could. That I am sitting right here today, if you think I look good, it's because Steve makes me look good. I mean, I look quite good by myself, but I look better with him. Marriage is like a crucible, right? You put the ingredients in there, and then you set it on fire. And you merge and you do things together. And new things evolve and you change. But you don't lose yourself, right? You can transform, but you don't lose yourself. Energy is energy. It can neither be created nor destroyed. So a good marriage should be synergistic. You bring this energy to the table, and your husband brings it to the table. And because the two of you are committed to a we, then you have a magical transformation. That when this energy evolves, you become a we that neither one of you alone can achieve. And yet, if you walk away from each other, you still have your integrity, and he has his integrity. He didn't turn into a Kweethai, and I certainly did not turn into a Steve because I like my hair. So how does one do this magic of flipping the me into a we? There are certain things I believe that I have learned that I will share with you this morning, small things. When you become a we, you stop making unilateral decisions. I think that's key. You stop doing things that only benefits you. You look at how many times marriages fail. Somebody steps out of the box. I was traveling and there was this warm cookie coming out of the oven. Well, it's the cookie's fault. I had to take a bite. You know what I'm talking about, right? You step out. You make a unilateral decision to gratify yourself, jeopardizing the we. Well, you don't do things like that. There are some things within the sanctity of that union that are non-negotiable. Ever seen the movie The Indecent Proposal with Robert Redford, who offered Demi Moore $1 million to spend a night with him? And the husband persuaded his wife to do that, and it destroyed their marriage. Because when she came back, he couldn't take it out of his mind. What did you do with him? Did you sleep with him? And the wife said, I can't tell you because you pushed me to do it. This is the consequence. You will never know if I slept with him or not, but here's the $1 million that you wanted. So basically, he sold his marriage for the money. So there are certain things within the we, and I don't know if people take marriage vows seriously. There are so many marriages that break because people break their word to love and cherish and all that stuff. You know, you go through the list. If you look at the Christian vows, there's a moral implication when two people make a choice to spend the rest of their lives together. Some people think this is a contract. I do ABC, you do XYZ, and everything will be hunky-dory, but life happens when you have other plans. So I believe the only thing that will hold two of you together is you actually truly believe there's a we. Simple things. If you don't even have a joint account, we have something seriously to work on, right? I have my money, you have your money. Of course, I joke, I said, my grandmother tells me, when you get married, you tell the husband, your money is my money is my money, because I manage the money. So how do we flip the M into the we? Basic ingredients, since I like to cook, right? You have to make a commitment. All right. A commitment simply means not just a promise. A commitment is different from a promise. Promises are made every day and broken. Promises are things that you do in the future. Promises are hopes. That's why I said don't put too much value on hope, because it's useless. I promise I will, buy you a car tomorrow. I promise I'll build you a house tomorrow. I promise. It's always in the future tense. What is different between promises and commitment is commitment means I do. Actually, that's what they say, isn't it? At the altar, I do, not I will do, not I did do, but I do, which means it's in this moment, it is now, and I live it every moment I breathe. I do. Do you love me? I do. Are you married to me? I am. And I do honor the we. And that is so important. So commitment requires a promise in the now. I think that's what a commitment is. A promise in the now, and a commitment has to be actioned. It has to be done. Not I will do, but I do, and I do now. Every moment of my life, I do. Which means that if you're committed to a we, you are committed to do nothing that would harm the we. You will love the we. You will protect the we. And you will do nothing to hurt the we. It is sacred. I'm given to understand that if you make a sacred vow to another, a vow is different from a promise, I think. A vow requires a lifelong commitment. It's given. I commit to do this until I no longer can do this. I will love you till the day I die. And after I'm dead, I can't love you the same way as if I'm alive. I may still love you. And Steve and I have these conversations. If I died before you, you'll be doing such and that. I said, be careful, because I'll be around and I will be listening. When you make a commitment, it's a forever thing. I will love you forever. Right? If next life we come back as kittens, I will still be your mate forever. The we is so big and so sacred. So starting from a small thing, here's just little old me, and that's little old him, and now we become a slightly bigger together we, and we evolve. Life is about learning and evolving, which means that we don't stay static. I'm sure, Diane, if you look back at your wedding picture 50 years ago, you will see that neither of you look anything like that, right? Because 50 years, we have morphed, we have many different bodies. Do you know that your body regenerates itself every 7 years? How many cycles of evolutions in a physical form have we gone through? And yet you still look at each other. I'm sure if we drag John into the room right now and ask him the same thing, do you still love her like you loved her when she was 4 years old? You don't even have to wait a minute for the answer, right? And you know that with things that you know for sure that are non-negotiables. So it is very important that if we have a we in our lives, that we consider it sacred. Means that if something is holy and sacred to you, you will do nothing to desecrate it. You will do everything to keep it safe and pure. And because our actions, our behaviors are our choices, everything we do, we can choose. I can choose to use this mug today or use another mug, because Cindy has given me many beautiful handmade mugs that at any time. But somehow in the morning, this seems to be my favorite mug, unless it's been in the dishwasher. Everything we do can be broken down into little pieces of mindful choices. And if we practice it long enough, now we read books like The Power of the Habit, and then The Atomic Habits or Atomic Change by James Clear. They talk about how habits are formed with small bite sizes. How do we eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So we talk about, this crisis going on. Oh, I can't do anything, so you give up. No, I think every one of us can do something. We can do something by making a choice to include other people into our lives. So now we go beyond the me in the marriage we, and going out to the community we. Small things you can do. Even if you are in lockdown and at home, small things you can do. We can open our hearts and project love outside of our chairs and send it out to whoever, whatever, and globally. I know for a fact that this energy of love works. Many years ago, when I was newly divorced and had moved to Texas, and my teenager was in Ohio at their father's home, I sat in meditation one morning and projected my body and consciousness into my daughter's room to give her a hug. Shortly after, I got a phone call. It was 7:30 in Texas, meaning 8:30 in Ohio. It's still very early on a Saturday morning for a teenager to be up. I got a phone call from my daughter, and she says, "Mom, did you call?" I said, "Not by phone." So her subconscious felt the love. And so I know that I've worked with many people and students that sometimes when you're struggling with a difficult situation in a relationship, and I know it is so easy to love people we like, it really takes extra effort to love people we do not like. So make that effort. Go inside. And, good things are worth the effort. And make yourself open your heart and send some love to that individual or individuals. Fake it until you make it. Grit your teeth if you have to. Send it out there and energetically give them a hug. You will be amazed that the response that comes. And I tell people God responds faster than FedEx. And recently I had something going on, and I said, I wish the person would simply say thank you for the things I'm doing. I don't need a medal, but sometimes just a thank you will do. It will make my day. And guess what? In less than an hour, I looked at my text, got a thank you. Be careful what you ask for, though. So in this big cluttered pieces in our lives, we get so bogged down with unnecessary debris of emotional clutter that we can't see the clarity of love within ourselves.
Open for comments, questions. Unmute yourself before you speak so we can hear you.
Just from reviewing from everything that you've done in the last couple of weeks, again, touching my personal life and my clients' lives. And I don't know how many people do Qigong that are on the call, but I can actually feel God tingling within me and your energy projected onto myself. And my whole body is sitting here vibrating in this other realm of consciousness. So again, practice some qigong is one comment. Get into the consciousness, and then you'll just, I guess, feel that love.
Other comments? Thank you, Melanie.
I'm reminded of a session I had just yesterday with my client, and there was I did not use any of the words that you used today, but we touched on all the themes you discussed today.
Oh, good. Well,
This was a nice reassurance. I kind of know what I'm talking about.
well, very good. Thank you. And that was Dr. Umesh Tiwari. I want to take 1 minute, and at the end of it, we close. Please close your eyes and just take a deep breath. And still all the monkey chatter in our brains. And just focus on our breath. Breathe in love. Breathe out fears. Breathe in love. Breathe out fears. Breathe in love. Breathe out fears. And now let the love completely fill your consciousness. And now it expands outside of your body. And let this love radiate out of your home, into your communities, and across the country, and throughout all the world. As we all breathe together and send love to every sentient being, to everyone, everywhere. Breathe in love. And now you are in the universe, and the universe is in you. And we choose love. And now take a deep breath, feeling totally loved and have lots of love to share. Give yourself a smile and gently open your eyes.